right, welcome back to another episode of Whiskey and Real Estate. I am Tone.
Lucas Burrington with K&K Real Estate.
And we got some good whiskey today.
Oh my goodness. So this is our first full week under our belt of being our own brokerage. So I felt I've had this bottle waiting for the last couple months that nice. I wanted to, our last episode was like, we did it. Now it's how's it been the first week of running on your own brokerage? Yeah. And oh man, it's a celebratory week. Got the first week under our belt. So we have a special whiskey. This is from we're obviously here in Iowa. Slipknot comes out with their own version of whiskey. They have a corn mash that they got out there that is fantastic. One of my favorites. They came out this past year with a number 9 reserve, and so this is it's an expensive bottle of whiskey, but it is smooth. I'm hoping. We're about to taste it for the first time.
Let's go.
So
cheers.
Cheers.
Wow. So that's what reserve mean? Like
reserve's it's a smoother brand. It's more it's 99 proof, so it is more potent. But it's that is smooth.
Yeah. That's ridiculous because after the last episode, you let us hang on to that. What was it? The wood. The bourbon,
something nickel barrel or something like that.
Yeah.
It was
good. So we've been sipping that, and I'd sip that very slowly. Like I get the smallest amount in my cup, and I just take small little sips. With this, I can smash a couple glasses of this real quick. So I'm a big fan of Slipknot. Grew up listening to them, and then didn't even find out they were from Iowa till later. And I see they got a message on the back of the bottle, so I'm going to read that real quick here. Slipknot and Cedar Ridge Distillery, 2 groups of people born and raised in Iowa and committed to quality and hard work. We collaborated on number 9 whiskey, which in addition to Iowa corn, gets some extra spice from its rye content. I hope you enjoy it as much as we do. Live life and always be safe. Cheers, clown. That's awesome.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
This is good.
The reason we pick like some of these local breweries and whatnot, and is part of real estate and part of developing your business is supporting your local communities.
Absolutely.
And Cedar Ridge is literally, 20 minutes down the road. They've been an awesome brewery, and I mean they do wines and they do, of course, the whiskeys. They're the ones that make it up for Slipknot and whatnot. So. Yeah, anytime we can support local, they support back, and it's one of those that you want to build your real estate career, you want to build yourself as an investor, you always got to invest back into the communities itself.
Absolutely.
The benefits of that is they'll start, you'll get deals before a lot of people because the community will be like, hey, I know you're a licensed realtor, or I know that you're an investor here. Would you be interested in helping our neighborhood by buying this or that? And the deals you walk into is fantastic. So a little segue, I would say, from our whiskey talk and why we bring up Cedar Ridge Distillery and whatnot is because we like to keep things local.
Absolutely.
So
I feel like that's kind of the Iowa way, man. Like we support each other.
Yep.
We build off each other. Yep. We help and
give back to the community.
Give back as much as you can. And honestly, like obviously there's business benefits to it, but just do it out of the kindness of your heart. The other stuff will come. The opportunities will come because you are a genuine good person and you're active and involved. Not everything needs to lead to monetary gain or value. Like friendships and networking have gotten me so much farther than here's my prices. Like, hey, if what's your budget? And, hey, we don't have a budget for this. All right, well, I'm still going to show up and I'm still going to support and promote. Social media is advertising today, and a simple share doesn't cost you a thing to share somebody else's business. And the more we do it, the more where we are, and the more we can all help each other.
Well, and the crazy thing is we haven't even talked to Cedar Ridge yet or anything like that. So they might be like, stop it.
No, I think they'll be happy we're supporting.
For sure.
I hope.
But so disclosure, we have not talked to Cedar Ridge. This is just us liking a glass of whiskey as we talk real estate.
We'd love to be sponsored, but we're going to support either way. So, all right, Lucas, how's today's market?
Interesting. So Market is we're approaching school season, so whenever we get within the 30 to 60 days of the school season starting back up, we do see another rush.
Okay.
The weather's kind of kept everyone inside. It's been 104, 105, so on and so forth. And now the weather's starting to. Once we start hitting fall weather, people will want to get back out. September is usually a good closing month, but it's usually a month where things kind of get a little stagnant because people are getting back in school. They're getting in the flow of things. Then you're going to see October is going to be crazy. So it's going to be this next 90 days is going to be good. It's going to be very interesting. Rates are still high.
Yep.
So gas prices just went up another 40 cents. Mm-hmm. So there is stuff affecting the economy out there. And keep in mind the fastest way to affect the economy is through real estate. So if they want to turn this thing around, they could look at us and be like, okay, let's get rid of some of this, let's lower rates, and let's go stimulate the market.
But the only reason they would do something like that is if there was more houses available. Like right now, there's not even
there's
a
still
supply.
A shortage of inventory.
When there's a shortage of inventory, like what would be a reason to not increase the rates?
Well, inventory, just in general, the reason rates went up and inflation went up and so on and so forth is to help build back inventory.
Yeah.
And we're 2 years into it. It really hasn't helped. It helped on a lot of other sectors of the market.
Okay.
Of sale of goods and whatnot. They have had the ability to restock their shelves and so on and so forth. But real estate, it really hasn't. It's helped a little bit. It just hasn't helped a lot. Because there's still a lot of buyers out there.
Yeah.
So sellers, don't be scared. I mean, there's still a lot of buyers out there. The only thing this market you need to know as a seller is do not overprice right now because you will sit on stuff forever. Like you think, hey, I'd be super happy if I got this price. And if your realtor comes through and gives you that market analysis and says you're high, don't go high this time of year.
Okay.
You want to go where you're going to be happy and that it's the right sale for you. But trying to get rich and trying to go above and beyond what you thought the market is, it's a kiss of death right now. You will sit on that property.
So I feel like with there not being a lot of houses available, this is the time definitely to mark up, but there's like a limit to it. Like don't go crazy.
No, it's February, March, April, those are your months to hit high.
Q3 and Q4 is kind of...
this is where it kind of stabilizes itself. I mean, there's still a good market out there for it, but people are like, you know what? I really don't need to move. School started back in. We'll just settle in for another year, So with the internet being the way it is, everyone's educated. So they know what they should and should not be paying on a property.
Yeah.
Prime example, I listed a couple houses this last week, and before I could even get them listed, I had buyers and they sold. But it sold without barely touching the market, like 0 days on the market, because we picked the right price. So the buyers are still there. Yeah. I mean, it's not my sellers were super happy they got the price they wanted. And they didn't have to get into all the wars and bidding wars and 5 offers. Yeah. Because when you get greed into the picture, you do lose deals. Mm-hmm. Usually that first offer you get is the one you want to work with. They were super happy with what they got. So the market's still good.
Yeah.
But it is definitely an interesting one. This next 6 months should be fun. It's about what you know and who you know right now this time of year, because if you know the market and you know how to price your stuff, your properties are still going to move. Yeah. So, and you're going to keep a lot of people happy. But right now, you could look bad as a realtor if you come in and you're just taking the hand of what the seller's telling you and you know it's $30,000 over market price. It makes you look bad, it makes the seller look bad, and it devalues the property. So, Yep.
So that poses my next question, which leads to what I'm going to be working on is getting a license. Is now a good time even to become a seller, investor, an agent?
To get your license and do all that stuff, it's a great time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a great time. Because it's a 3-month period roughly to get through the whole process.
3 months.
So by the time let's just say you banged it hard and you knocked it off in a month and a half to 2 months, and your background checks and everything came back and you're ready to go and ready to get ready to sell, you're in the training months. So there's a lot of test options. December's never super busy. From the investor side, it's really busy because they got tax money. They need to make sure they got all their write-offs and before the end of the year and so on and so forth. So to becoming an agent, it's a good time to learn. It's a good time to learn because you want to be running hard, knowing what you're doing when February and March hits.
Okay.
Those are the best months of the year to sell real estate.
Nice. Okay. So what's the classes and training look like for becoming an agent?
So you're required by the state of Iowa to take a 60-hour pre-licensing class. It's $460 to $500 roughly. Prices are ever changing, so I would say $460 to $500.
This an online course is somewhere you physically have to go?
It depends what kind of learner you are. You got the option to do it online.
Okay.
Go at your own pace, bang it out as quick as you need, so on and so forth. Or a lot of people that do it online, it may prolong them to take them 4 months. I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I need to cram, bang it through. I got stuff to do. Let's get through it. So I took the 1 week class.
Okay.
So I showed up on a Sunday, was done on the next Saturday.
Okay.
I did my 60 hours right then and there, and took my test the following Monday. So in a week and 2 days, I was already through my 60-hour class. I've already passed the test, and now I'm just doing my...
And that's what normally takes people 3 months. You did in a week and a day.
I did a week and a day on my classes. But what takes the longest is while you're doing that and you're taking your test, you're applying for your background check.
Yeah.
So register for class, start taking your classes, whether it's online or in person.
Yeah.
Your last 2 chapters of your course, that's when you want to sign up for your test, because that 60-hour class is prepping you for that test.
Yep.
Most of it you'll never use in your real estate career. It's good to have in the back of your head, but it's there for that test.
Yeah.
Take your test. As you're doing that, you're applying for your background check. Then once you pass that test, you have 36 more hours to take. None of those are really geared toward the test. They're sit down, learn hands-on how to do paperwork with listing practices, buying practices, professionalism, stuff like that.
Okay.
So you have 3 more classes to take as soon as you're done with your test.
Nice.
So it's a total of 96 total hours that you have.
Okay.
When it's all said and done.
96 hours.
60, take your test, then your next 36.
Okay. The next 36 after you pass the test.
After you pass the test.
Because I've heard the stories of people not passing the test.
Well, myths. So, you know what? I've seen people that have taken the test. Myself, once again, I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed. I passed my first time.
No pressure, though, Tom.
Yeah. I passed my first time.
Okay.
My boy Damon, he passed his first time. Zach, who sells with me, I think he took it twice. I think Brandon took it twice. Chuck twice, I think. So 2 or 3 times is pretty common. Okay. Because the first time you just don't know what to expect.
Yeah.
We have all the guides and all the training materials, so agents that want to come on, let's go. We have all that stuff.
Perfect.
There's no reason you shouldn't pass with what we have provided for training and materials. So, yeah. So the test is what it is. It's nothing extremely hard. It's the wording of the questions and being able to know your stuff to navigate through it, because you are helping people with the biggest
purchase of
their life. So you got to know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
So once you get that taken care of, then the background check takes anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks.
Okay.
So that's why you do it right as you start getting ready to take your test, because that's in process.
What's the cost on the background check?
So class $460 to $500, background checks $90, taking your test is $90
each time.
Each time.
Is there just one test, or is there multiple?
It's a national and a state test.
Ooh.
So if you only pass one, the first time, you'll be in and out of it, done test taking in hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours.
Okay.
If you pass it the first time, and money's calling. Then you so let's just say you pass the national and fail on the state. You don't have to retake the national. You just got to retake the state. It's still $90 though.
Yeah.
And then so you got licensing. You passed your test. You're doing your next 36 hours, and those extra classes, they'll run you another $300, $400.
Okay.
So you got 500, you got 90 for your test, 90 for your background, so that's 180, and so you're at 680. Then you got probably another $400 for the 3 additional tests or 3 additional classes. There is no test over those.
Okay.
So I mean, you do the math.
Yeah.
So once
at least $1,000 invested into.
Yeah, I would say overall it's probably going to cost you $1,400 to 2 G's.
Okay.
To get your license.
Okay.
But that includes all your applications and getting registered with the board and probably getting some signs and whatnot.
Okay.
If you got a good brokerage, they'll help you through that.
Okay.
So, yep. There's many times we have helped new agents cover some of these costs, and then when they start selling, we just take it out of their first couple sales. So
nice.
So there is opportunity on that end of it from the brokerage standpoint.
I like that. All right. So timeline wise, average person, you said about 3 months.
I expected. We got 2 new hires starting on Monday, and my guess it's going to take them a month to 2 months to get through everything.
Okay. And then,
yeesh, man, I need to
the
turn
money
that
is
off.
calling. And then, I mean, after you're licensed, you can just start selling. Talk to me about the next steps.
You can start selling. Yes.
What do you recommend?
You should have a good shadow.
Okay.
That's my view on it is have a good shadow.
Okay.
I'm turning this thing off, so otherwise it's just going to keep ringing.
For sure.
Yeah. Shadow someone, roll with them, learn the ins and the outs. I personally, you come to my brokerage, and as the broker, I'm going to put you in what they call the referral program for your first 4 transactions.
Okay.
So that way you're learning the process, you're getting to understand the documents, you're getting to understand how to overcome some of the hurdles through the process of getting an offer accepted to get to a closing, or how to represent a seller, how to manage yourself in an open house. So I want to make sure you're not that agent that's with brokerage B that doesn't train their people and just throws their guys out there and just says,
don't
go.
throw them to the wolves.
and unfortunately it happens a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
I feel like there's so much paperwork involved, and as we mentioned a lot, it's the biggest transaction of someone's life.
Yep.
You can't just throw somebody to the wolves.
Oh,
man.
without a doubt. I know dang well when I see another name on, if I see X broker's name on there and maybe X realtor's name on there, I know right away how this transaction's going to go.
Oh.
Either I'm going to have to do the whole dang thing and babysit the process.
Yeah, to get it done right.
Yep, make sure it's done right and taken care of for our parties.
Yeah.
Or, it's going to be one of those that, you got Jack on the other side. Jack's a great realtor.
Yep. This is going to be a breeze.
We ain't going to talk usually until the end of it because I know he's doing his job and I'm doing my job.
Yep. I love that.
Yep.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So it's quite a bit of collaboration from the buyer and the seller. So again, we talked about this before, but it's just good to have those relationships.
Yep.
And kind of know your people. How do you deal with the other agencies where they are constantly dropping the ball? How do you, is there tension? Is there, hey man, come on. Like,
it all depends. It depends on the people. So myself, they're a representation of the word realtor. So I want them to
reflect all of us.
Yes. I want, as through the process, if I feel they're needing some help, or they might be, hopefully they'll ask and be like, yo, what's the next step?
Yeah.
If they're doing that, then I'm going to educate them as well, and I'm going to help them. I'm going to coach them. I'm going to train them because they are a representation of who we are out there.
Yeah.
Now, at the same point, I'm not showing them my tricks of the trade, but this is why it's important for this, and this is, Real estate's all, when you get an offer accepted, whether you're the seller side or buyer side, it's all about deadlines and how smooth can you make it.
Yeah.
It is the biggest purchase of your life, but it also should be an enjoyable process.
Yeah.
It should not be stressful. If it's stressing, you need to ask your realtor why.
Yeah.
Or explain to him, because our job as a realtor is to try to make it as smooth as possible.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome. So, something we pre-discussed about these properties is turning them into Airbnbs. Now, how long has Airbnb even been around? Is this...
Man, it's becoming more prevalent. It's been around for quite some time. I couldn't tell you on how long. We started managing them basically the last 5 years.
And that's when I've seen they become the most popular in the last 5 to 7 years.
There's so many little ins and outs of them. Managing one Airbnb is like managing 10 properties.
What?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into managing Airbnb. There is a reason we are one of the few companies that actually will manage an Airbnb.
Really?
And I've questioned myself on that.
Because, is this worth it?
Yeah, because there is a lot of risk. There's a lot of work. It is your communication lines. I mean, you're hired for that property, and you're hired for the clients that are coming in. And if you got a constant every 3 days someone moving in, I mean, your hours of work just went out the window.
Well, yeah, because your average tenant, how long, is usually probably a year minimum, with property management.
Yeah. So Airbnb,
that's days versus however long leases are.
Yeah,
it's like a 3-day lease. That
Fact.
sounds like a nightmare. Actually,
it's not putting someone in there and letting it sit. You got Well, here's the thing: is you got to maintain a review too. So if you're not like maintaining a 4-star review or anything with Airbnb, you can have someone come there, stay there. It was perfect. It was clean. It was stocked. Everything was right.
Yeah.
Lucas was great to work with.
Yeah.
Location was terrible. 3-star.
Oh.
Airbnb can then freeze your account and not pay you or allow you to book anymore. And it's like, what is going on? I'm like, I have done everything right here.
Yeah.
So, I mean, by the time they move in and by the time they move out, you better be talking to your people and explaining to them, like, hey, is everything good?
Yeah.
We good?
Yeah.
I mean, is there a reason you wouldn't give me a 5-star? I can't change this location.
Yeah.
But is it clean? Is everything else taken care of? Are you taken care of?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a lot of work that goes with it.
It's way more hands-on.
Yep. Now there is a lot more profit in Airbnb than just a normal rental too.
Yeah.
So that's the reason some people take it on. Because there is a lot of reward to it if it's done right and filled right.
Yeah.
So almost double the margins on them.
Yeah.
Than a normal rental, but double the work though too.
Absolutely. I had this silly dream of I stayed with my brother in Texas, and I wanted to find a property where I could basically go to Texas in the winter and then Airbnb it out in the summer and then come back to Iowa, during the summer. Is that as easy as I buy this property or this condo, or do I need a license, or what would be the process of something like that?
You can do anything you want to your own personal property without having to have a license.
Okay.
It's when you're acting as a fiduciary representative.
Fiduciary. That's an interesting word.
Yep. So that means I'm representing you.
Okay.
I have a fiduciary duty to maintain the law of ethics and the laws by the state and so on. So yeah. I hate that word.
Fiduciary.
Yeah. Like you're calling me a bad name. Like, did I deserve that?
Is that a slur?
Yeah.
No, okay.
You called me what?
But if you're doing what's right by law, you own the property, you can Airbnb it. You don't need anything.
You don't need anything. So the only time you once again, you need a management or you need to be licensed is when you're doing something for someone else.
Okay.
So the minute I started, I could manage 30 properties of my own, never need a license. But as soon as I touch someone else's property and I'm managing them is when I need the license.
Understood.
Yep.
What about, how does that work with like condos that are
Same.
that so if I buy a condo, I feel like the building could tell me I can't Airbnb out of here.
HOAs, you got to pay attention to your HOAs and what your covenants have in it and what you can and cannot do.
Let's talk about. We haven't talked about HOAs, homeowner association.
Yep.
What like what's your involvement?
So as an owner of that property, you own everything inside the dwelling. So floors, HOA will take care of most places, 90% I would probably say. Everything on the exterior of the building, your windows, siding, roof, lawn care, snow removal, your flower beds, cement, it falls upon the HOA.
Okay.
So exterior, everything the exterior of your walls.
But obviously there's a fee.
Yes, there's a fee, and the more amenities they offer, that fee goes up.
Absolutely.
So if they're offering this type of amenity, maybe they're saying that we also cover internet and water.
Oh.
Or there's a pond and we're gonna, stock the pond, and it takes care of maintaining the pond. Then instead of your normal $130 annually fee goes up to $180 or maybe $220, depending on location or where everyone's located at.
Nice.
What's going on. So an HOA is someone that takes care of a portion of the property that you do not have to, but you're paying an HOA fee. Now my HOA, I live on an acreage, and so we got a small development where we live. We have an HOA, and it's $120 a year.
Okay.
And it's because we have 2 shared wells, and so we all share a well.
Okay.
So 120.
That sounds really cheap.
Super cheap. But you get into a condo or association, that's $180 a month.
Yeah, that sounds more accurate.
So once again, it depends on your location and what amenities are being supplied. We take care of our own lawn, snow, everything where I'm at. I mean, we're on 2 acres, so I mean that's a lot to maintain, and the HOA doesn't touch any of it, so we don't pay for that. So that's why it's
so they manage the well, you said?
Yeah. So there's 2 wells that take care of 42 properties or whatever, 17 properties.
Okay.
42 acres, 17 properties. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are the amenities negotiable? Like, hey, you could add? No, it's just this is what we offer, this is what we do, and this is the price?
It's in your covenants. This is what it is. This is, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And when you say in your covenant, like in your area, it's required. It's not a we can have it, we can't.
Yep. You may say you're buying into condos. You may only have 25% of this condo association can have rentals. So once they get up to 25% of doors that are rentals, no more rentals can take place.
Yep. Everyone else is an owner.
Yep.
Interesting. And then what's like the difference between property management and HOA? Like,
property management's taking care of leases.
Okay.
Now,
you're not
a property management
lawn
property management can manage the HOA.
Okay.
And if we're managing the HOA, we are just managing this pretty much the common areas and everything that the HOA requires. So we're managing the exterior of the buildings.
Okay.
We're not managing the actual door.
Right.
Yep. We're managing the land and the exterior items that the HOA will be responsible for. And mostly they would hire a property management for the HOA just for financial reasons.
Yeah.
So you don't got, because part of your board of that HOA is the owners that live there, so you don't got Joe making decision over
giving the rules,
and so on and so forth. Yep.
Yeah, and that's something else. Like I always hear about like the different rules. Like sometimes if they don't cover the lawn and care, you're required to do so much so often. Do you know anything about that?
Say that again.
So like, hey, you got to keep your grass this short, but you're responsible for it. It's an HOA rule.
So that'll be, you can have a covenant without an HOA. So that'd be more of a covenant that states you can't. Out here, you don't pay us anything, but we have covenants in place that states you cannot have a trailer sitting outside in your driveway, or you can't have 6-inch grass. It needs to be 3-inch, or you can be fined.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of different things. A lot depends on your area and what you got. I mean, obviously, if you have all buildings that are uniform across, you don't want one guy to say, hey, my deck is going to be pink and the rest of them are going to be brown. So that's where the covenants kick in.
So this brings me back to when I owned my first house, and me and Chuck owned a party bus. And the police were called almost every time we switched which property. Like, we had to eventually buy, rent a garage to keep the bus, because if I had it at my house for 3 days, the police were at my house. Hey, the neighbor said this bus has been here for months or whatever.
Right.
Why is that? Like, that's due to basically like covenants that try to restrict things like that, or?
Yeah, I mean, it's once again uniform. They allow you to do it, and you're going to have a bunch of party buses, is what they're fearing. I mean, and I have seen it where you allow one camper to get parked out in the driveway, and you drive by, and you got 5 campers, at Joe, Jane, Bob's, and Sissy's house. You know? So it
was so confusing to me. I'm like, what are we doing illegally? It's just in my driveway, and they're like, yeah, your neighbors don't like it out here. And
well, it's to take away the clutter and to keep the uniform of the neighborhood, because they're also paying for that HOA, and they knew when they were paying the HOA that this is part of the covenants. The reason we're out here is because of how clean it looks.
Okay.
And how not cluttered it is and stuff like that. And I mean, Joe hasn't moved his truck that's been on bricks for the last month. It's to prevent stuff like that.
That's crazy. What about adding like a indoor or in-ground swimming pool, an in-ground pool to your backyard? How do you guys handle stuff like that if I own the property?
You own it, do what you need. But if I'm managing it, I'm going to ask you to let's keep it covered, or I'm having a waiver that says I'm not responsible for that.
Okay. Why would you be responsible? Like, what responsibilities would come with that if I'm...
Tenant drowns, I don't want them going after the management company.
They could go after the management company.
They could go after
if they build the pool and they drown in it, they could come after you.
Mm-hmm.
What?
Yep. I want a waiver that says that I am not liable for anything that happens. And if they put my insurance, if I'm the owner and that's my rental property, and a renter comes in and decides to put a pool in, my insurance could skyrocket. As well. So I don't want that to happen either.
Yeah.
So,
but on the bright side, if an owner builds an indoor or in-ground pool, now the value of the house goes up, right?
Sure it does. Yep. Yep, it does go up. If it's handled properly.
Okay, yeah.
You could also devalue it. I mean, I've seen properties not sell because someone didn't want the liability of the pool.
Could you also make them like have a standard of the pool? Like, hey, if you guys like, they have to reach out to you first, I imagine, right? Mm-hmm. Could you? It's got to be this big or this safe or this quality, or it's just their property and they kind of can.
It's the owner's property. They do what they want. I can choose whether I want to manage it or not.
Oh.
If I'm managing it with a pool, and we do have 3 that have in-ground pools that we manage out of
3 out of 600. Yeah. You know exactly which 3.
I do.
That's crazy.
I try to sell them every year. I'm like, hey, time to sell this one. Let's go. I got someone that wants an in-ground pool. We had 5. I sold the other 2.
So it's something you don't really care to deal with.
I love pools. I got a pool at my house.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, from a liability standpoint and from a management standpoint, it's nightmares.
What?
And the city's not nice with their city inspections too, unless that thing is completely upkept.
Oh wow.
So now you want me to be a cabana boy? I'll start another business. So I'll come be your cabana boy. I will be a cabana boy. I love taking care of a pool. There's nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, if I have a bad day, without a doubt, you're going to find me with a snorkel and a vacuum, and I'm going to be floating, singing through my snorkel with the music I can hear through the snorkel. My bad days of real estate, when you guys are a pain in my tail, I go home and I put a snorkel in and I vacuum my pool.
That's awesome.
Without a doubt. It could be midnight, and I will be floating out there. I can't even see what I'm vacuuming, if I'm vacuuming.
Yeah, if it's
my filter
working.
might be plugged. Don't care.
Just enjoying. Oh, man. Yep. That's awesome. That's good to know. I didn't even... Yeah, I love when we get down these trails and then I find out something you don't like.
Real estate. It's the funnest field to be in. It's also one of the most intriguing fields to be in. There's so many loopholes in real estate of how to make money, how not to make money. But there's also so many errors you can create in real estate, especially from a management side of it. If you're an investor, I mean, and a lot of you investors out there understand that mistakes are going to happen with your rental property. There's going to be, common mistake. I'm telling you, investors, stop this. Don't get friends with your tenants. Don't give me your friends. Don't give me your family. Yeah. I'm telling you, the ones that lose their tail in real estate are the ones that get emotionally invested to stuff. Okay. So as soon as they get emotionally invested with a cousin, a brother, a sister, a nephew living in their properties, man, it's one of the number one reasons I get management is because they don't know how to kick them out and make them pay rent.
You can't hold them accountable.
Yep. You'll get out of the business quick.
Okay.
So once again, another interesting.
Don't go for your family.
Yeah, for sure. Real estate. Now, buying and selling, don't sell to your family either. Hook that up with a brother and say, give me a referral.
Yeah. Yeah. I got a great guy for you.
You got a great guy for you. I'm telling you, those transactions aren't fun. I've dealt with them. I've dealt the good, the bad, and different of working with family members and friends. I want to make sure my friends are taken care of and my family is taken care of is the only reason I stuck my neck into it, and I really didn't know if I could trust the next person I handed it off to. But if you got a guy you can trust, try to remove yourself from that situation because Christmas could be awkward.
I can only imagine. Just, hey man, I ain't got it. Oh man, I'll get you. Oh, we just had that funeral we went to. That person died. Well, you know what? I ain't got it. Oh man.
The one of the funnest things, and Tone, this is why I stress you get your license about real estate. It's just all the stories you hear from people and the jacks of the trade you get to meet and how people view things, and I'm learning. I'm 15 years into this stuff and I'm learning every day. No transactions like the next transaction. Really? You got your format of how you follow it and what works and this it is, but it seems I'm never shocked by anything. Okay. We'll get further into that end of it at a different episode when we get into the shocks of real estate. But I mean, man, you just get to see so much. It's an ever changing life. It's
never gets stagnant then, huh? 15 years, I can't imagine there's a dull time in this.
And no matter how many, as soon as I see my board start slimming down and the market getting tighter, you're always looking for that next transaction. Yeah. And I haven't found out yet if I crave the competitiveness of real estate, because there's 400 other realtors out there, or if I completely enjoy the process of real estate, or if I just if you work hard, you make hard.
You get rewarded for your hard work.
Absolutely. So I think it's a combo of all three of those things and the relationships you get.
I experienced that a lot with music, and it's not always something that pays off. It's something where, music is almost the lottery. Like, it's a gamble. I don't know what songs are going to take off, and I don't know, I would think, oh, this is the best song I've ever done, and nothing happens with it. Mm-hmm. So, I love music so much because I get to be creative, and it's never the same. It's always something fun. So you're saying real estate, I can get that same feeling.
Oh, yeah.
That's awesome.
The only time real estate gets dead is when your activity's dead. And so,
and that's kind of on you.
It's all you.
Get what
just
you
like
put
music.
in.
Yep.
But that's what I love, because like I said, there's a lot of times in music that's not rewarding. But with real estate, you haven't had experience where you've worked your tail off and got nothing out of it.
No. I always say, if you're going to judge me and you want to know what mood I am without asking. So my staff, sometimes, some days they're walking on eggshells around me. They want to know, what mood is Lucas in? Yeah. What do we approach this with? And my kids at home are the same way. And I'm just like, and go check my pool water and go check my fish tank. if my fish tank's dirty and it needs cleaned and it's got some film forming on the outside and my water has got a tin of green in it, stay the hell away from it. It's the same thing at work. If you walk in and you see I only have 3 or 4 deals pending on the board, he's not in a good mood.
Right.
It's like when I pay bills monthly. I mean, both my kids and my staff are like, oh, yeah, they know to stay away. So my kids check my pool water and they check my aquarium. If they're dirty, which is very few and far between, stay away from Dad. If they're clean, Dad's on his game. Dad's in a good mood. So yeah, I mean, and I think that's just the way of life, man. I always look at the people and I find out what their passions are and what they love and what they're missing. And if there's some avenues, if I talk to my buddy Travis and I'm like, so how many fish you caught this week? Or how many fish have you caught this month? Or how's the fishing been? And he tells me I haven't been at all. I know he's cranky. So
he's working his ass off.
Yeah, because he's out banging. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, Trent's the same thing. I mean, it's I got those buddies out there.
For me, it's like the opposite. Like if my house is a mess, then I'm working my ass off, but I'm doing what I love. Like money's good. If my house is spotless, I had probably a lot of time on my hands and not as much work.
It's finding balance with work and life is crucial. And if I've found balance, and my fish tank's clean and my pool's clean. Nice. I don't have balance and I'm just spinning myself out. And you can do it. You can spin yourself out in real estate. You can hustle and hustle and over hustle. And I'm a prime example of that. I hustle. And sometimes it takes a reality check of a doctor call or a visit to be just like slow down. I mean, it's but that's the cool thing with real estate is you'll get what you put into it. So
can't be mad at that. I think that's a great way to close it. Get what you put into it. Hustle hard.
Next episode, we are showing what K&K Real Estate stands for.
Okay.
My daughters want to come join us.
Oh, that's awesome. I can't wait.
So you get the true nitty-gritty of Lucas, and I might just take a seat over there and just
let them go.
Let you talk to the girls.
What's it like from your perspective?
Oh, Lord. But so the K&K and Burrington Real Estate, is Camille and Kennedy. So you'll get to hear from it. And man, I should bring Alexis on and let you have a chit chat with her. She'll tell you everything that's going on because all 3 of those girls know way too much about me.
I bet.
And they even if they're not in my life daily, they still can give you the raw end of what real estate is about because
that's exciting. I'm looking forward to it.
Next week.
Can't wait. Cheers to that.
Cheers to that, Tone.
It's number 9 by Slipknot.
Yeah, Reserve. Yeah, the Reserve style.
So good.
So good. Yeah.